Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita class. We'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimiraandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shvapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadhutam Purijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Panchatatpatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nilachala Nivashaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadravhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, we are continuing our discussion on chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. We have covered this portion, that how Krishna explains that his birth and activities are different from the activities and birth of a living entity. So difference between the Supreme Lord and ordinary living entities is described in the beginning of the 4th chapter, which starts with the question of Arjuna. So Arjuna was basically asking when Krishna told that Arjuna, I have given the same knowledge to sun god Vivaswan millions of years ago, before I am giving you. So I gave the knowledge to Vivaswan, sun god, and that knowledge was descending in parampara. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale nehamahata yogo nasta parantapa. So Krishna gave the knowledge to Vivaswan. Vivaswan gave to Manu, and Manu gave to Ikshvaku. So like that, in the disciplic succession of the kings or the Rajarshis, this transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was getting delivered. But sakale nehamahata yogo nasta parantapa means by the influence of time, what happened, this parampara was broken and the message stopped there, and therefore Krishna is again repeating the same knowledge to Arjuna. Why Arjuna? Because Arjuna is a friend and devotee of Krishna. He is non-envious, and that's why he will be able to understand the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So then we have seen that how Krishna is the creator of all the different varnas, and we can adopt different techniques to reach Krishna, but ultimately we will have to come to the stage of pure surrender unto Krishna or Bhakti Yoga. With Bhakti Yoga only, we will be able to get Krishna or reach our primary goal of the human life. So we'll continue from that portion. So just to remind you of the context, so we are in the 4th chapter. In the beginning of 1st chapter, we have seen Arjuna is giving arguments of not fighting. In the 2nd and 3rd chapter, Krishna answers these different arguments, and Arjuna is satisfied. So at the end of the 3rd chapter, after getting all the questions, which Arjuna, all the arguments are refuted, given by Arjuna. So then at the end of the 3rd chapter, Arjuna is asking this question, that although I knew all this knowledge, but during the application I forgot. So what is this force which takes us to the wrong path, even if we know what is the right and what is wrong? But still there is some unknown force which takes us to the wrong path. So then Krishna described that this force, unknown force, or our enemy is called lust or kama. And Krishna has given prescription also how to fight this lust. This lust can be in three levels: the senses, mind, and intelligence. On the level of the senses, how can we control lust? By following the four regulative principles. No meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. These are the four regulative principles which are meant to protect the four pillars of dharma. So by following these four regulative principles of no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex, we restrain our senses. And then on the level of the mind, we have to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the mind gets purified of all the contamination or lust. And then our clarity will increase and everything will be crystal clear to us. And then on the level of the intelligence, the mind is higher than the senses and the intelligence is higher than the mind. So on the level of the senses, follow the four regulative principles. On the level of the mind, follow this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And on the level of the intelligence, how can we purify our intelligence? By reading Sastras or scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And by reading these scriptures, basically we are purifying our intelligence by receiving direct instruction from the Supreme Lord. So that is how in all the three levels we can do this purification. And that will give us clarity. And then we will be able to do only the right thing. So the problem with all of us, Arjuna is a representative of common people like us. So we have this problem, although we know what is right and what is wrong, we lack determination to follow the right path. And kama or lust covers our intelligence, and then we take the wrong path. So by following this prescription by Krishna, we can always choose to be on the right path. And if we are on the right path, then our karma will be purified. Whenever we take a wrong turn, it immediately affects our karma, and we have to suffer for that. If we are doing something wrong, we have to suffer for that. Just like in this world also, there is some government and the police system is there. If someone does some criminal activities, they have to suffer. So similarly, there is a universal government managed by the Supreme Lord, and there also, if we perform sinful activity, we have to suffer for that. So we can safeguard ourselves from committing any sinful activity by following this prescription of Krishna and purifying ourselves, our senses, our mind, and our intelligence from the effect of lust. So now the fourth chapter starts. In the fourth chapter, Arjuna's question, and then Krishna describes how Krishna is different from normal living entities. Birth and activities of Krishna are very different from a living entity. Krishna takes birth according to his own sweet will. Krishna chooses who will be his parents. Just like in this picture, you can see when Krishna appeared to Vasudeva and Devaki. So it was Krishna's decision that I choose Vasudeva and Devaki to be my parents. And Krishna did not appear like a normal person. Krishna appeared as a four-handed Vishnu form. And parents are offering prayers to that Vishnu form. And then that Vishnu form became small baby Krishna. So Krishna's birth is very different. Also, Krishna's birth did not happen in a normal biological process. Krishna first came to appear on the heart of Vasudeva. From the heart of Vasudeva, he was transferred to the heart of Devaki. And from the heart of Devaki, he came into the womb of Devaki. So like that, Krishna's birth is very, very mysterious and he can choose. But a living entity does not have any choice. He has to take birth according to his karma. Whatever karmic reactions are there according to our karma of the past, so we have to take a future body. Just like if we have done many sinful activities, we may be degraded to lower forms of life. We may get an animal body. And if we have done pious activities, we will get the body of the demigod and we will be able to enjoy the heavenly pleasure. So this happens to normal living entities like us. We do not have any choice. According to our karma, whatever is suitable, that kind of body we will get. But for Krishna, Krishna can choose when he wants to take incarnation, who will be his parents, how will be his looks, what will be the purpose of that incarnation. So therefore, for Krishna, it is incarnation, and for us, it is called birth. So there is a huge difference. So Krishna clarified this, that the Supreme Lord's birth and activities are very different from the normal living entities. And he says this verse, very important. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata tyakta deham punarjanma naiti mameti shorjuna. What does this mean? Janma karma cha me divyam. Janma means activities. Janma means the birth, and karma means the activities. So birth and activities, janma karma cha me. Me means mine. Divyam means transcendental. Krishna is telling, oh Arjuna, my janma and karma are divyam. Evam yo vetti tattvata. Vetti means knows. Tattvata means in truth or reality. Evam. So whoever knows, evam yo means whoever knows this fact in truth. Which fact? That Krishna's birth and activities are transcendental. What happens to that person? Tyakta deham punarjanma. Upon leaving this body, he does not take punarjanma. Naiti mameti shorjuna. But mameti, he attains my eternal abode. So one who knows this secret, that the Supreme Lord's birth and activities are very different from a normal living entity, he is in true knowledge and he is a liberated soul. He will not take birth again, but will come back to the Supreme Lord's abode. Then we had discussed about the Varnashram system, how Krishna created this Varnashram. And this is a very scientific process, but a distorted version of this Varnashram is projected now as a caste system. Krishna did not create this, but that is a distorted version. Now this Varnashram system is very, very scientific, just like we see in the corporate world also. For any big companies, they have a research and development team, they have a managerial team, and they have some people who are finance people. They are just investing money. And then there are the execution class, or the workers who actually build the product. So for any car company, there will be a research and development team who will invent new technologies so that the company stays ahead of the competition. And there will be a managerial team who sees all the different affairs of the employees and who will be promoted to what level and what salary they should get, how much vacation they are getting. So all these things are managerial things. And then there is some venture capitalists who are investing money into the company. So there is a finance team. And also everything is ready, but if there is no one to execute and build and assemble the actual parts of the car's body and build the car, then everything is futile. So there has to be some worker class or the execution class. So this is a very scientific system. Lacking any of these teams will result in destruction of the company. The company cannot run. All these 4 teams are needed. Similarly, to run a society, we need these 4 kinds of people: the Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishya, and Shudra. Brahmanas, they read the scriptures and they provide suggestion to the ruler or the king. Whenever any difficult situation arises, the Brahmanas will cite some incident from the scriptures that, okay, in this particular situation, a similar situation happened in Srimad Bhagavatam and this decision was taken. So like this, the Brahmanas or the Vaishnavas who has knowledge in the scriptures, they will guide the administration class or the king in ruling the kingdom. And the king takes care of all the managerial things of the kingdom. And then there are Vaishyas who take care of the Krishi, Goraksha, and Banijya, agriculture, cow protection, and business. So they generate funds for the society. And there is also the execution class or the Shudras who actually execute the ideas on the ground level. So this is a very scientific system to run the society, and it was created by Krishna so that human society can run successfully. And everyone can choose their profession according to their inclination. So in this way, this reduces the burden. It is like job satisfaction. Nowadays, this is a very famous terminology, job satisfaction, that I must be satisfied in my job. I should love my job. Otherwise, it becomes very painful. it becomes very struggling. So similarly, whatever nature we have got, we need to do that kind of duty. Then it will be very spontaneous and there will be less struggle. And we will get more time to practice spirituality. There will be peace of mind. So for all these things, there is a very great science behind this Varnashram that Krishna created. So we have discussed about that. And then now, today we can discuss about this section 16 to 24, where Krishna says about karma, akarma, and vikarma. It's a very interesting section. So let's start from verse number 16. Yeah. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayopyatra mohitam tatte karma pravakshyami yajyatva mokshashe shubhat. So here Krishna says, even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. So Krishna is telling many people, we do not have this knowledge, what is action and what is inaction and what kind of action we should perform. So therefore, all the misfortune come to us, all the unfortunate conditions that we suffer in this world, and we lament, why all the bad things happen to me? This is because we are lacking the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and we do not know what action is, what inaction is, and how we should perform our activities. If we know that secret, that secret code is revealed by the Supreme Lord in the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, this kind of scriptures are of paramount importance, that all the secret codes of the universe are revealed in the scriptures. We haven't created the universe, so it is very difficult for us to know the secret codes. But because the Supreme Lord has created, he knows each and every detail. And out of his mercy towards the living entities, is revealing them in the scriptures. So we should be taking advantage of that, and we should be regularly reading this Bhagavad Gita and try to understand. Just by reading, we cannot understand Gita. We have to pray to Krishna that Krishna, please reveal the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to me. And also, in the initial stage, Krishna speaks to us through Vaishnavas. So through the devotees of Krishna, we have to understand this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mama vijanati javanjaschasmi tatpatam tatomam tattato gatva vishate tadanantaram. So only by devotional service, under the guidance of a devotee, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita can be understood. Even in this chapter 4, the final instruction of Bhagavad Gita, like Krishna will give the final instruction in chapter 4, that is also the same thing. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninastatvadarshina. So go to a devotee who is practicing this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Just by reading and researching over this knowledge does not help. Someone may memorize all the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita, but still he may not know. Bhagavad Gita is such a science that it cannot be realized until you apply it in your life. So we have to learn the Bhagavad Gita from a person who has applied this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to his own life. Therefore, Krishna says, Tadvidhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Tattvadarshi, this term is very important. They have seen the truth. They are not just speculating and they just have the theoretical understanding of the truth. No, they have practical experience. They have seen the truth. So therefore, we must learn this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the action, reaction on all the complexities from a devotee. Okay, then in the 17th verse, Krishna says, Karmanyapi bodhyavyam bodhyavyam cha vikarmanam akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So it is very difficult to understand the law of karma. Why we are getting this suffering, due to which offense and which sinful activity, it is very difficult to decode. Like it is certain that whatever sufferings we are getting in this life is due to some sinful activities associated with some sinful activity done in the past, either in this lifetime or in the previous lifetimes. And whatever facilities we are enjoying, that also corresponds to some good activities in the past. But it is very difficult to exactly correlate. Only the Supreme Lord and his material energy, Durga Devi, knows that mapping for which sinful activity you are getting which result. So that is not known to us. Therefore, Krishna says, Gahana karmana gatihi. It is very difficult to understand the intricacies of law of karma. Just to illustrate this point, there is a episode comes in Mahabharata where Dhritarashtra is asking Krishna that, oh Krishna, what is my fault because of which I had to see this, and all my sons are getting killed in this battlefield of Kurukshetra? What is my fault? What sinful activity I have performed? I have never performed any sinful activity in this lifetime. So what is my fault? Yes, it is true that I was very much attached to my son, who was a sinful person, but I personally did not commit any sinful activity. So why I am suffering this? And not only in this lifetime, Dhritarashtra was a very extraordinary person. Okay, so he is not, he is direct son of Vyasadeva. So therefore, he was not an ordinary person. Vyasadeva is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, literary incarnation, who wrote all the scriptures. So because Dhritarashtra was son of Vyasadeva, so Dhritarashtra could remember not only the present lifetime, but 100 previous lifetimes he was able to recall. And he is telling Krishna, in 100 previous lifetimes, I have not performed a single sinful activity. So why I am suffering this? For which sinful activity? So Krishna said that in the 101th lifetime, which you cannot remember, in that lifetime, you have killed very small baby birds of a mother bird. A mother bird laid so many eggs, and unknowingly, by throwing an arrow, you have destroyed all of them. So there were 100 of those. So you have destroyed 100 eggs of that mother bird. So therefore, you have got that karmic reaction that one day 100 sons will be killed. Your 100 sons will be killed. You have got that karma. Okay. Now, what happened? That you did not have enough pious activity to have 100 sons. To have 100 sons, a person requires a lot of pious activity. Having son only requires pious activity. Some people, due to their sinful reactions, they cannot even have a single son, right? That is also due to some sinful activity in the past. So having son or offspring, it requires some kind of pious activity. And to have 100 sons, it requires a lot of pious activity. So Dhritarashtra destroyed the 100 eggs of that bird. Therefore, he got that karma. That one day Dhritarashtra's 100 sons will be killed. But at that time, he was not having the enough pious activity to have 100 sons. So through different lifetimes, like 100 lifetimes, Dhritarashtra has accumulated enough pious activity, enough pious credit to have 100 sons. And now in this lifetime, Dhritarashtra got 100 sons, and that karma was waiting. That whenever Dhritarashtra will have 100 sons, this karma will be delivered. So this is very, very intricate and very, very difficult to understand for which karma we are getting what result. Only Krishna knows, and the material nature, the material energy knows. So Krishna is trying to explain that only here, that there are three kinds of things. In relation to karma, there are three terminologies: karma, akarma, and vikarma. So we should have proper knowledge about these three terms, and that is the topic of our discussion today. I'll try to explain. So there are three things: karma, akarma, and vikarma. Karma means action. Vikarma means forbidden action. And akarma means inaction. Okay. So karma means action. That means activity which is according to the scriptural injunctions. Forbidden action means some activity which is against the scriptural injunctions. So what are some of the forbidden actions? Like breaking the 4 regulatory principles: meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex. Basically, these 4 things summarize the forbidden actions. These 4 things are forbidden in the scriptures. Dyutam panam striya shunam tatra dharmas chaturvidha. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is told there are 4 forbidden actions. Meat eating, once we are eating the meat of some living entities, we are not merciful. And mercy is one of the pillars of dharma. So we are breaking that pillar of mercy. So meat eating is a sinful activity, forbidden action. And gambling, to earn money in some crooked way, not straightforward way, okay, by cheating others. So that is called gambling. Intoxication means if we are taking the drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, anything like that for pleasure of our body, which are not scripturally permitted things. So that is called intoxication. And then illicit sex, any kinds of sexual affairs outside the bonding of marriage. So that is called illicit sex. These are 4 sinful activities or forbidden acts: meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex. So we should be away from these 4 activities. Otherwise, our sinful account will increase and the sinful credit will be accumulated, and that will be delivered in due course in this present lifetime or in the next lifetime. So we should be keeping ourselves away from these 4 forbidden acts of meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex. So they are forbidden actions or vikarma. Now what karma is? Scripturally permitted actions, like good actions. If you give charity, if you do tapasya, you give food to some needy person who is in need of food, you give clothes to some person, you open schools, hospitals, and these kind of things, you donate blood. These are called action, good actions, pious activities. Okay. And inaction is very, very important term. Inaction means that you are doing that activity for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, and therefore no karmic reaction is generated, neither pious nor sinful. No karmic reaction at all is generated. That is called inaction. And this is the prescribed thing we should do. Now, forbidden acts we should not perform because it is sinful and we have to suffer for that. Someone may question, why shouldn't we perform this action or good activities? Yes, we can perform, but if we only perform action and we are not performing inaction, then there is a problem. So even if we are performing action, we are doing pious activities, so pious credits will be accumulated. But again, we have to take birth to enjoy the reactions of our pious activities. And taking birth in this world is very, very dangerous. Once we take birth, we are forced to perform some sinful activity. Even if we are walking on the street, we are killing lots of insects unknowingly. When we are taking food, we are killing bacteria. Even if we take vegetarian diet, we have to kill the plants. So just to stay alive in this material world, we have to perform sinful activity. There is no way. Nobody can say, I did not perform any sinful activity. No, we have to perform some violence. Otherwise, we cannot stay in this material world. The material world is designed in such a way. So therefore, bhakti is 100% necessary. Without bhakti, there is no hope. So in bhakti, what happens? Whatever actions we generate through all these karmas, those reactions, they get burnt away. Jastvendra gopyamathavendra ahoshvakarma bandhanu rupa phalabhajanamatanoti karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. All our pious and sinful reactions will be eliminated by Govinda bhajana, by worshipping the Supreme Lord Govinda or Krishna. So what happens, even if we have pious credits, we have to take birth for that. And then again, we will be forced to perform sinful activity. So again, the cycle of birth and death continues. And some sinful activity will perform, and therefore we have to go to the hellish planets. And also another interesting thing is that even if we are not performing sinful activity, not doing bhakti itself is a sinful activity. Just like it is explained in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, we have already discussed. Yajna sishta shino santo muchante sarva kilvishai bhunjate te tu agham papa ye pachanti atmakaranat. We may think that, okay, I want to eat something and I cook and I eat. So what is the sinful activity? There is no sinful activity here. But because we haven't offered it to the Supreme Lord, this is a sinful activity. Because whatever we are eating, it is some living entities. So there is some kind of violence. If we do not offer that to the Supreme Lord, it becomes sinful activity. So this material world is designed in such a way that in every step, you will be compelled to perform some sinful activity. So therefore, if you take birth here, you will it is guaranteed that you will accumulate some sinful activity in every birth. And that will get accumulated. And therefore, you have to suffer again and again. So therefore, neither pious credit and nor sinful credit is good. Both are bad, because both makes us to take another birth in this material world. And whenever we take birth, we will be forced to perform violence and sinful activities. So therefore, we have to cancel this account. And this account of pious activity and sinful activity, they do not cancel each other. Somebody might think, okay, I have done 10 units of sinful activity. If I do 10 units of pious activity, they will get cancelled. No, it does not work like that. Our account for sinful activity is maintained separately. Our account for pious activity is maintained separately. And we will get results accordingly. If we have accumulated 20 units of sinful activity and 30 units of pious activity, so accordingly, we will be able to, in a proportionate way, we will be going to heaven and also hell. So there will be some particular sinful activity requires us to go to hellish planets. Otherwise, due to sinful activities, we can degrade to lower birth, or some problems may come into our life. So the karma may be delivered in different ways, but the main thing is these accounts do not cancel each other. Sinful account and the pious account, they are maintained separately, and we get the reaction separately. For our sinful credits, we get suffering separately. For our pious credits, we get facilities separately. So what cancels this account? And that is called Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti. Therefore, Krishna is telling throughout all the chapters, beginning from the 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, and 4th chapter, Krishna is repeating the same thing. Yagyarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kwanteya mukta sanga samachara. Yagyarthat karmano, work as an offering to me. Anyatra, otherwise what will happen? Lokoyam karma bandhane. You will get entangled in the karmic reactions. Work for me, otherwise you will get entangled in the karmic reactions. Tadartham karma kwanteya mukta sanga samachara. But if you work for me, you will get liberated from your entanglement of law of karma. All your pious account and sinful account will go to zero. And once these two accounts goes to zero, that is the definition of liberation. When we do not have any pending sinful activity, or we do not have any pending pious activity, both accounts are zero, we are called liberated soul. And then we don't have to take birth in this material world again. We'll be able to go back to the Supreme Lord's abode. And that abode is full of happiness. Chinta mani prakara shadmasu kalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu suravi ravipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra satasam brahmasevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The abode of the Supreme Lord does not have any restrictions. In this material abode, material world, we have several restrictions, like law of conservation of mass, conservation of energy. Okay, you cannot get free energy here, right? So that is a research topic in physics. Many people are trying to get free energy, but that is not possible. There is some limitation. But in the abode of the Supreme Lord, everything is unlimited. Pleasure is unlimited, and every activity is pleasurable. There is no tinge of any distress there. This material world is like a prison house. Therefore, it is designed in such a way that you will be feeling pain. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. But the abode of the Supreme Lord is full of happiness. So to enter the state of permanent happiness, we have to make both the accounts zero. The sinful account and the pious account. So that is a very important lesson in this particular section Krishna is giving. That we have to understand what action is and what forbidden action or vikarma is, and what inaction or akarma. So whatever we do, we have to do it for the Supreme Lord, as an offering to the Supreme Lord. Then only we will get liberated from the bondage of work, and both the accounts will be zero, and we will be liberated and will be entering the permanent state of happiness. Next, Krishna describes Karmanya karmaya pasyed akarmani cha karmaya sa buddhiman manusyeshu sayukta krishna karma krit. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. So this is also a very interesting thing. How to see inaction in action and action in inaction. So very easily we can understand this by an analogy. Just like a devotee. A devotee means who? All the activities of a devotee are as an offering to the Supreme Lord. And there is one normal materialistic people who is doing all the activities for his sense pleasure, for his own sense gratification, his own pleasure. There is no connection with the Supreme Lord. So externally, it may seem that a devotee is also getting up in the morning, getting ready, and then going to office and working 9 to 5, returns home. Externally, it is very similar to a normal materialistic people. A devotee also does the same things. But it is the consciousness of the devotee which makes the difference. A normal person may go to the office and earn money. What is the motivation? That I want to enjoy life. I want to buy a car. I want to buy a home. Or I want to go to some place. I want to eat. So the whole point of a materialistic person, for the whole motivation of doing work, is own sense gratification. At the same time, a devotee is also doing externally, the devotee is also doing the same activities. But internally, what is the motivation of a devotee? That whatever money I will earn, with that, I will maintain my family, my Krishna conscious family. And then whatever I have extra, I will donate that to the Supreme Lord for building temples of the Supreme Lord, for preaching this message of Bhagavad Gita. I will sponsor some books like that. And whatever positions I have got in the society, with that I will try to preach, and I will try to deliver this message of Bhagavad Gita to many people. So this is the consciousness of a devotee. And a devotee has a deity in home. Like in different forms, Krishna exists in the homes of a devotee. Like in the form of Gaur Nitai, some people can have Gaur Nitai, some people can have Sitaram, Radha Krishna, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. So a deity must be there in a devotee's home. And a devotee thinks, how can I decorate the deity? How can I do nice offerings to the deity? So this is the motivation of a devotee for earning money. So, and this is the game-changing thing. A materialistic person also does the same things externally as the devotee does, but there is a huge difference in consciousness which decides their destination. Because the materialistic person has no connection to Krishna, he is only thinking about his own sense pleasure. In every step, he is performing sinful activity because he is not acknowledging or offering to the Supreme Lord. So every step is full of sinful activity, and sufferings are waiting for him. He has to take birth again. And the devotee is doing the same activities, but in a different consciousness for Krishna. Therefore, he is getting liberated from the bondage of karma. All the previous karma are getting destroyed. No new karma is being generated, and he will not have to take birth again. So externally, the activities can be same, but it is only the consciousness which makes the difference. So we have to understand this. And therefore, Krishna says, one who sees inaction in action. So now we can understand. For a devotee, externally, it may seem like action. He's doing some activities. But inaction means internally his consciousness is offering to the Supreme Lord. That means it will not generate any karma. So an intelligent person can see, oh, although the devotee is doing externally the same things, but the devotee is free from any karmic reactions. So this is called seeing inaction in action. And what is the meaning of seeing action in inaction? Like some people, they may pose themselves as a spiritual personality, but internally they're attached to some sense gratifications. They're attached to name, fame, glories, followers, and a good quality of food items. There can be some attachment, some material attachments. Although externally they are posing themselves as a spiritual personality. And such a personality is called mithyachari. Krishna has described in chapter 3. So this mithyachari, an intelligent person can see, although this spiritual personality is posing like he's doing inaction, but actually his mind is attached to the sense gratificatory things. So therefore, internally he is doing action. Although externally it may seem that he is doing inaction or he is very detached, he is doing everything for the Supreme Lord, but internally he is attached to them, and therefore he is getting karmic reactions. So again, the thing is, externally, whatever we see, that is not a very important thing. Everything depends on the consciousness. Okay. So that is a very important message given in this section of Bhagavad Gita. 19th verse. So let us complete this section. I have explained the important concepts. Now we can just read the slokas up to 24. Yasya sarvesham arambha karma sankalpa varjita jnanagni dagdha karmanam tamahu panditam buddha. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by the sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burnt up by the fire of perfect knowledge. So as I explained, for such a person or a devotee who works in a consciousness of offering to the Supreme Lord, all the reactions of work have burnt up already, and he is a liberated soul. Although externally it may seem that he is working. Tyakta karma phala sangam nityatipto nirashraya karmanya vipravittopi naiva kinchit karoti sam. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Although a devotee or such a person is externally doing all kinds of activities, he performs no fruitive actions. That means he does not get any karmic reactions because he is doing everything to please the Supreme Lord. Just as I gave the example, that a devotee is always thinking, earning money, how to make nice offerings to my deities, how to decorate my deities nicely, how to preach the message of the Supreme Lord. And he's always meditating on those things. So therefore he's liberated. He's not doing anything or thinking about his own pleasure. Nirasir yat chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha sariram kevalam karma kurvan apnoti kilvisham. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus, working is not affected by sinful reactions. So this is the mood of a devotee. Whatever small bare necessities of life is required, a devotee fulfills that, and rest everything he gives away for the Supreme Lord. He does not want to enjoy in this world. And the most important thing is, by serving the Supreme Lord, he enjoys the most. Everyone in this material world is trying to enjoy, but they will be futile in their attempts. They will be not able to enjoy. They will get frustrated. But a devotee is not trying to enjoy. He is serving the Supreme Lord. And by serving the Supreme Lord, he will enjoy the most. An analogy can be given to explain this fact also. Just like this little finger is attached to the body. This finger is serving a very minute portion of the body. And by serving to the whole body, it is getting nourishment. But if this finger thinks, I will get separated from the body and I will try to enjoy separately, within a few days, it will be destroyed. It will get rotten. So similarly, till the time the soul or the living entity like us, we maintain the desire to serve the Supreme Lord, get connected to the Supreme Lord, we will get nourishment, we will stay happy. All the qualities like Sat, Chit, Ananda will be manifested. But the time we think that no, I want to separate enjoy from Krishna, we will not be able to enjoy and we will be depressed, anxious, and all the misfortunate things will be happening to us. So that is the message given, that if we serve the Supreme Lord, then we can enjoy the most. Without the Supreme Lord, if we try to enjoy separately, try to enjoy this material world, we will get some temporary happiness, but a lot of frustration. And then with that frustration, we will try to enjoy more in this world and we get more frustrated. This is the nature of this world. Jadrichala vasantusto dvandvatito vimatsaram samasiddho vasuddho cha kritopi na nivadhyate. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of his own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. So such a person is not affected by success or failure because he is doing everything for Krishna. So suppose, for an example, a devotee is doing business and trying to earn money for Krishna so that he can serve Krishna in a better way. So if he gets more money, then also it is good. He will use that money as Krishna service. If he does not get money, he gets loss in the business. There is no problem because there is a very minimal requirement on his part and that will be satisfied by Krishna. It will be never like he is not able to get his own meals. It will never happen. But if he gets more money, he will use it in Krishna service. If there is no money, then whatever he have, he will try to serve with that. So if someone is having that mentality that whatever I have, if I have more, I will serve more. If I have less, I will serve less. But always I have the tendency to serve. So such a person is not afflicted by success or failure. The success and failure may come due to karma. If we have done some good activities, success will come. We have done some bad activities, failure will come. But a devotee is not like diverted by this success or failure. Now one may question that for a devotee also these karmic reactions will come. Yes, partially they may come. Until we become a pure devotee, karmic reactions will keep on coming. But a devotee is not affected by the karmic reactions. So he's steady in both success and failure and never entangled. Although performing actions, although he's performing every action, he's never entangled. Gata sangyasya muktasya jnanavasthita chetasa yajjaya charata karma samagram praviliyate. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in the transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. So if we are doing everything for Krishna and we are unattached to the material nature, we do not have any personal agenda, personal motivation of sense gratification, then we are situated in the transcendence and we are doing transcendental activities. Now, this sloka is very, very important. I will just give a brief overview of this and I will discuss in more detail in the next class. Brahmarpanam brahmahavir brahmagno brahmanahutam brahmaivate gantavyam brahma karma samadhinam. So the word Brahma is used multiple times here. So what it means, a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, who is doing every activity for Krishna, is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which in the consummation is absolute and that which is offered of the same spiritual nature. So this means that as an overview, nothing is spiritual or material from an absolute perspective. Everything depending on the use is spiritual or material. Just like a knife, if it is in the hand of a doctor, it can save life by doing a critical operation. But if the same knife is in the hand of a criminal, it can take away life. So knife does not have any absolute connotation that it is associated to some positive or negative. It depends on the knife belongs to whom and how that person is using. So similarly, any equipment or anything in this material world, just like suppose this laptop we are using to discuss Bhagavad Gita. This laptop is made up of some material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Now, depending on the use, if you are using this laptop to serve the Supreme Lord, to spread the message of the Supreme Lord, this becomes transcendental. This becomes spiritual. And the same thing, if you use for some criminal activities, it becomes materialistic. And the same laptop will be the cause of your sufferings. So just like in the previous example we saw, externally the activities can be same, but depending on the consciousness, it will become spiritual or material. External activities of a devotee and a non-devotee same, but a devotee is in the spiritual consciousness. So that is the point spoken here, that if our consciousness is spiritual, then everything associated becomes spiritual. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir. Just like when somebody is doing a fire sacrifice, okay, the sacrificial fire is also spiritual. The ghee that is being sacrificed, that also becomes spiritual. The person who is doing the yajna, he also becomes spiritual. And the ultimate goal of the yajna also becomes spiritual. We attain the supreme planet of the Lord. So everything becomes spiritual associated with that activity if our consciousness is spiritual. But similarly, if our consciousness is material or we want sense gratification, everything associated with that becomes sinful and materialistic. So that is the whole point spoken here, that for us, we are the living entities. If we engage ourselves in the service of the Supreme Lord, we regain our spiritual nature. And then we regain our Satchidananda nature and we will be blissful in that state of consciousness. Okay. Yeah, so we have completed this portion, and then in the next class, we can complete the rest of the 4th chapter. So there are some questions. Let me take. Is Durga Devi Mother Nature or is Maya? Yes, Durga Devi has different names. One of the names of Durga Devi is Mahamaya. So Durga Devi is the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord who takes care of this material universe. And that energy is called Mahamaya. And the same energy of the Supreme Lord, it helps in the spiritual pastimes. Then it is called as Yogamaya. So Durga Devi has two natures as Mahamaya and Yogamaya. As Mahamaya, he is maintaining the living entities in the material nature. He is giving them the reactions for their actions. And Durga Devi is chastising the living entities. And the same thing, same Durga Devi, when the Lord appears as Krishna, like 5,000 years ago, Lord appeared as Krishna, same Durga Devi assists Lord in his spiritual pastimes. And then her form is known as Yogamaya. So the same person, Yogamaya and Mahamaya. Can you please share more about Maya, who influence our actions? Yeah. Yes, okay. So this is the nature of Maya Devi, to taste a living entity. Because we have come into this material world and we have this nature of enjoying independently from Krishna. Now this Maya Devi will test us. If we want to become spiritual, then Maya Devi will test us that whether we are actually serious. So Maya Devi will try to distract us from the spiritual path. And if we are actually serious, then we can attain Krishna. So the point is, when we came to this world, Krishna was telling us, Krishna requested, do not go to this material world. This material world is not a good place. But we did not listen. Once we come here, we have to put some effort to go back to Krishna. That shows our sincerity. So therefore, Maya Devi tests. Krishna says, whoever becomes my pure devotee, I sell myself to that devotee. I will become his servant. I will become the servant of my pure devotee. This is a statement from Krishna. So Maya Devi, being a energy of the Supreme Lord, makes sure that only eligible souls get the position of a pure devotee, because my master Krishna will become his servant. So there is some test put forward by Maya, and we have to pass those tests to become a pure devotee, and then Krishna will become the servant of that pure devotee. So therefore, Maya Devi tests us, our determination in the spiritual path. Therefore, she poses some distractions. And we have to prove that we are really serious about spiritual life.
So Prabhu, thank you for explanation. Maya Devi keep on sending us the test till we get enlightened. Can you please share?
So whenever some problems are coming, you have to understand that I have not learned some lesson of the life. Therefore, this problem is coming. Every problem is associated with some lesson. And until the point we learn that lesson, the same problem will keep on coming. Just like one lesson is, there is no happiness in this material world. But we cannot accept that so easily. We think, no, there is happiness. When I go out with friends, there is happiness. When I go for a movie, there is happiness. So sufferings will keep on coming until we are completely convinced about this fact that this material world, there is no happiness. And this happiness is illusory in the material world. There is a semblance of happiness, but this is not real happiness. Just like there is a pond and there is a mango tree, and there is a mango in the mango tree, but there's a reflection of the mango in the pond water. If we think, oh, there is a mango in the pond water, and we jump, we will not get the mango, because the actual mango is in the tree, is not in the pond water. So all the happiness in the material world is like that. It seems like there is a happiness. It seems like, oh, I am unhappy now. If I buy a car, I will become happy. So it seems like I will become happy, but nothing in this material world can make us happy. So until we are completely convinced about this, different problems will keep on coming in the form that you will try some material activity and you will get frustrated. You will try, you will get frustrated. And then after, intelligent souls take less time and foolish souls take millions of lifetimes to understand this fact. And then they surrender unto Krishna. Until we have learned all the lessons of our life, problems will keep on coming. And that is the service of Maya Devi, to teach us lessons in the form of the problems.
Last question, Prabhu. The intelligence is given by the Krishna, am I correct?
If you seek.
Yeah. If you seek, okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Just like Krishna says, that, in the 10th chapter, Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. If you want, like, most of us in this material world, they are not very much God-oriented people. They think, I know everything. I am very smart. I do not need any Bhagavad Gita, any God. I know how to stay happy. Till the time we are very convinced that I am self-sufficient, I do not need Krishna. Krishna will not disturb us. And the same thing you can see in Bhagavad Gita chapter 1. Arjuna is speaking like a Pandita, giving different arguments. That Krishna, you know, this is why I should not fight. Krishna, you know, this is why I should not fight. Krishna kept quiet. Krishna told, okay, Arjuna, because you are already so much knowledgeable, you can derive different conclusions. So what is the use of me? I will stay quiet. In the first chapter, Krishna did not utter a single verse. It is only in the second chapter when Arjuna told Krishna that, Krishna, although I gave the arguments, now I am bewildered. I do not know what to do. I am not sure about my arguments. Please instruct me. Please guide me. Karpanya doshopahata swabhava prichhami tvam dharma sammooda cheta yashreyasya nishchitam bruhitan me shishasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. Then Krishna opened the mouth and started explaining about the Atma Tattva. So it depends on us. And therefore, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is important. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are calling out to the Supreme Lord that, oh Lord, please help us. I have recognized that I am not self-sufficient. I need your help. Then Krishna will give you intelligence.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Can a devotee feel bad for others' reaction or action towards a situation? Also, can a devotee find fault in other? Yes, this is the nature of a devotee, to become compassionate to others. If some other people are suffering the reactions of their karma, devotee must be compassionate, and a devotee should pray to the Supreme Lord that, oh Lord, please enlighten this personality. This person does not know how to get out of the bondage of karma. If that person is receptive, the devotee is very compassionate and tries to enlighten that person. Sometimes that person who is suffering and a devotee is trying to help, and he is not listening to the words of the devotee. He thinks the devotee keeps on saying about Krishna, Krishna, will Krishna solve my problem? No. So let me focus on the problem. But he has no idea that devotee is trying to help us, and by surrendering to Krishna, his problem will be solved. So a devotee is compassionate. Sometimes devotee wants to give this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to people and they are not receptive. They even insult the devotee, but still a devotee is very, very merciful and keeps giving Krishna to that person. And regarding finding fault, we should not try to find fault in others. We should see only good qualities in others, and we should see faults in us. We have so many faults. We should not see good qualities within us. Then we will get proud. We should find fault in us and we should see good qualities in others. That is then there will be harmony. But in some special condition, like you are guiding some devotee, okay? You are a guru. So guru has the right to find fault in a disciple. If guru does not find fault in disciple, disciple will not improve. Guru must find faults in disciple and chastise. And guru can be of different levels. Like in this Krishna consciousness also, there are 3 kinds of gurus. Like one is Vartma Pradarshak Guru or Path Pradarshak Guru. One is Shiksha Guru and another is Diksha Guru. So Vartma Pradarshak Guru means who gives us this knowledge about Krishna. There is one devotee from whom we heard about Krishna for the first time for the Bhagavad Gita. He or she is the Path Pradarshak Guru. And Shiksha Guru means in the execution of devotional service, there are some personalities from whom we get inspired and we learn different teachings in Krishna consciousness. So that is Shiksha Guru. And Diksha Guru means who gives us the formal initiation and connects us to the Guru Parampara. So all these 3 gurus, they have the right to chastise and fault find in us. Otherwise, in normal scenario, we should not find fault in others, and we should only see faults in us. Okay, which is the biggest charity to mankind? Gita knowledge sharing or material form? Okay, yes, Krishna only says in this 18.69 that the biggest charity is spreading this message of Bhagavad Gita. Doing material charity is also good. If some person is not having food for many days, we should give that person food. Otherwise, giving the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita will be useless. You will not be able to understand if there is no food in the stomach. So we should give food, we should give clothes, we should give shelter, all the necessities we can provide. But at the same time, we should not stop there. We should also give the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, everything becomes useless. So by giving temporary comforts, that person will be getting some comfort temporarily. But for millions of lifetime, he will get suffering in the cycle of birth and death. So I can save his suffering for some moment, for 1 hour, but he is suffering for millions of lifetimes. So what is that 1 hour comfort in comparison to millions of lifetime suffering? So if you see from that perspective, our material help is negligible. It is nothing. It is zero in comparison to infinity. So therefore, actual help will be to connect that person to Krishna. If you connect that person to Krishna, he will be getting liberated from the bondage of law of karma, and he will go back to Krishna's abode, and then he will get permanent happiness. And the million lifetimes of sufferings are saved just by giving this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So of course, this is the biggest charity, but you have to give in such a way that the person can digest. If the person needs some immediate help, obviously give that. Otherwise, you will not able to receive the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and then give the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, tree plantation in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So yes, actually, the thing is, you will not. So people say that Bhagavad Gita gives answer to every question, right? So Bhagavad Gita really answers every question, and there is a verse regarding everything. But it does not mean it will go into the specifics. Like for tree plantation, there is no verse. But in general, there is a verse on charity. What is the charity in mode of goodness? What is the charity in mode of passion? What is charity in mode of ignorance? In the 17th chapter, if you read, you will get that. 17th, 18th, 14th, these chapters talks about different activities in 3 modes. So Bhagavad Gita gives you a summary knowledge, general knowledge, which are applicable to every sphere of our life. So whatever specific problems we have, that boils down to some general problem. And Bhagavad Gita gives a solution to that. Otherwise, within these 700 slokas, you cannot cover every topic in this universe. That is not right. So, yes, charity activities are allowed, just like I told, that all these things are called karma. Tree plantation, opening schools, hospitals, relieving the society in a material way, that is called karma. But akarma or inaction is even higher than that. Okay. And that is devotional service and service to the Supreme Lord. So to whatever extent it is needed, we should do welfare activities in the society, but we should not stop there. We should also give the spiritual knowledge. Otherwise, only giving the material well-being and welfare activities will not help the human being. So that's the point.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Thank you so
Hare
much
Krishna.
for asking so many interesting questions. So we'll see you next week again at the same time. Hare Krishna.